Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for watching. I thought it would be fun to sit down and chat with you guys about some new makeup releases. I love filming these videos. I get really great feedback from you guys as well. A lot of you seem to like watching them and just chatting with me about which products you're interested in. I did film a video like this last week, just strictly on eyeshadow palettes, so I'll link that one in the description box below. I do have a couple of eyeshadow palettes to talk about today as well, but I also wanted to include some other products that aren't just palettes. So I hope you guys enjoy this video. There's a bunch of products that I'm planning on purchasing, a couple that I might possibly purchase, and then a few that I'm going to pass over. So I would love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below if you'll be buying any of these products or if you'll be skipping over them, and let's jump into it. So I'm going to start with the product that I'm most interested in hearing your thoughts on, just because I'm really curious to hear what you guys think on this product and whether or not you'll be purchasing it or if you're just, a little bit let down by it. So Jaclyn Hill was kind of like teasing some products on her Instagram, and everybody was wondering if it was going to be a Morphe collaboration or if it was going to be her own makeup line. It turns out it is another Morphe collaboration, and I actually don't own the original palette. I've heard so many good things about it, but to be honest with you guys, whenever it comes to like those larger palettes from Morphe or other brands, I just don't find myself reaching for them. I've decluttered, I think, all of them from my collection. I feel like they're hard to store, and I personally just don't gravitate toward palettes like that in my collection. It's obviously just personal preference. I don't have anything against Morphe, and I will say that the shadows that I've tried have been really nice. So when I saw she was releasing 4 different smaller palettes, I was definitely curious. So each palette comes with 10 different shadows, and they're available for $15 each, or you can buy the entire vault for $49. I feel like I might end up buying the entire vault just because each of these palettes is so different, and I'm kind of interested in like 2 or 3 of them, so I feel like if I'm going to spend $45, I might as well spend $49 and get that extra palette, and they look really beautiful. I love that she did this. I feel like it might have mixed reactions, but she actually said these were shadows that she was working on when she was creating her original palette, and they just didn't make it into the original palette because I think that one is like a 38 shade palette. So she had all of these additional colors and she created mini palettes, and honestly I just love the idea because that way if you're not interested in such a large palette, you can spend $15 and get a smaller version. So a lot of you guys were asking me if I was going to pick up the ColourPop Foundation, and I'm definitely going to grab it. The ColourPop concealer is one of my favorite products ever, and over the last few months I've actually been wearing that as a foundation for like a daily go-to foundation because I feel like it gives me good coverage, but it's on the lighter side, but it still stays in place really well throughout the day. So I've been hoping they were going to release a foundation, and they did announce their Nofilter foundation that will be available on June 14th, which I think is the day that I'll be uploading this video. So Kathleen Lights did film a review and wear test video, but we have different skin types. So I feel like I'm still even more curious to try it out after she filmed that video. She had pros and cons, and I feel like I'm either going to love it or I'm going to like completely write it off, and I'm not sure exactly because like I said, she has a different skin type. I have very oily skin, and it sounds like it could work really well for my skin type, but I don't know, we'll see. I just really enjoy their concealer. It's my absolute favorite. So I feel like because I like the concealer so much, chances are I'll probably end up liking the foundation as well. They're also coming out with loose powders and blotting powders. I might grab one of the blotting powders just because I usually prefer a pressed powder formula over a loose powder formula. So I'm not exactly sure, which one I'll grab or if I will grab it for sure, but most likely I'll grab one of the pressed powders and probably skip over the loose powder. So a lot of you guys were asking me if I was going to grab the new Face Candy Atlantis palette, and I am going to buy this palette. It's going to be available at Shop Hush, and I feel like people either love Shop Hush or they hate it, and not necessarily Shop Hush, but like the brands that create those dupe palettes. I was going to film a haul update, like ranking all of the palettes that I tried from Shop Hush, but I felt like that video just created drama on my channel, and like I just don't have time for drama. I'm a grown adult. Like I'm not interested in like fighting with people in the comments of my videos. So if Shop Hush is like that controversial, I'm just going to avoid, talking about their palettes on my channel. I guess I'm talking about one right now. But I feel like people don't have a problem with this palette because people hate Tarte Cosmetics more than they hate Shop Hush, and this is supposed to be a dupe to the Tarte Cosmetics April Fool's palette. So yes, I'll be buying this palette, but I don't know if I'll really be like talking about it a whole lot on my channel. I just want it for my personal makeup collection. But I get why you would not be a fan of Shop Hush, but I think if you're not going to be into Shop Hush for creating dupe palettes, then you should probably write off a lot of the drugstore brands that do the same thing. Like Wet n Wild literally literally duped the Modern Renaissance palette, and nobody had an issue with that. Just because Wet n Wild put the shadows in like their layout doesn't mean that it's not an identical dupe for the Modern Renaissance palette. So I think if you're going to get on, you know, these brands for duping palettes, you have to be consistent and you have to get on every other brand that dupes any other product. But at the same time, I do get where people are coming from. I personally just think the demographics are different. I think people who are going to buy an Anastasia Soft Glam palette aren't necessarily going to go to Shop Hush and buy that product instead. I think the people who weren't going to buy the Soft Glam palette because of the price are the people who are interested in buying the dupe palette. If I want a high-end product, I'm not going to go look for like a super affordable version of it first, especially if I'm like loyal to that brand or I'm interested in buying like the high-end quality version. So I think the demographics are completely different. I don't think people who are willing to spend $50 on palettes are necessarily skipping over them to only buy palettes from Shop Hush or like dupe palettes, if that makes sense. That's just like my personal preference. If yours is different, that's totally fine, but I don't know, I don't have a problem with buying it. So anyways, moving on, the next product in my purchase list is the new Ole Henriksen Cold Plunge Pore Mask. I really love this brand. I think their skincare products are so high quality, and I feel like even though they're more expensive than like some drugstore or affordable brands, they're less expensive than some of the more expensive, like outrageously priced skincare brands at Sephora. This actually retails for $36 and you get 3 ounces. It is available now, and I'm really curious about this product because I feel like it's going to be so ideal for my skin type. So it says that it will instantly reduce the appearance of pores and reduce oil for up to 8 hours, which sounds like a dream product for me personally. It's also supposed to even skin texture and detox and purify the skin. So I guess you're supposed to use it 15 minutes before you do your makeup and then rinse it off, and then it's supposed to have those lasting effects throughout the day. It literally sounds too good to be true. So I am definitely curious to test it out. Okay, let me talk about 2 products that are on my possibly list. The first product is something that I know that I definitely do not need, but it's still like calling my name. I actually added it to my Shop Tagger account because if it goes on sale, I will buy it. And I'm going to try to hold off and see if it goes on sale, just because a lot of limited edition palettes do end up going on sale. So I try to wait it out because I've purchased too many limited edition palettes at full price, only for them to go on sale a few months later. So this is the new Tarte Love, Trust, and Fairy Dust eyeshadow palette. It's so beautiful. I really, really love this palette, and I don't know, it's just really calling my name. I know that I don't need it. I know that I have mauves and golds and neutrals in my collection, but at the same time, I love it. It retails for $39, which I don't feel like is a bad price, but I feel like Tarte palettes are so hit and miss for me. Like, I really like some of them, and I really just don't like others, so I don't know how it will work for me. I feel like it's just such a cute palette, and I know that some people might think it's childish, but I love pink eyeshadow. Like, pink eyeshadow is my favorite, so it's just calling my name. I just don't know if I want to spend $39 on an eyeshadow palette just because I don't feel like I really need it. I mean, I'm wearing pink eyeshadows on my eyes today. I have a lot in my collection, so I think I'm going to hold off, but if it goes on sale, I'll probably end up grabbing it. And then the other product is from the same collection. I think I might end up grabbing this one. I'm leaning toward grabbing it, but I really haven't spent money on like a high-end blush in a while other than Hourglass blushes. I kind of told myself in 2018 if I was going to purchase a high-end blush, it was going to be an Hourglass blush just because those are my go-tos. But I also like these Tarte Cosmetics Amazonian clay blushes, and it's been a little while since I've purchased one. But this one kind of reminds me of Tarte's Exposed, which I actually decluttered and never repurchased. Mine was getting really old, and I had plans to repurchase it. So I feel like instead of buying that one, maybe I'll grab this one. It just looks like a really beautiful color. And I know the packaging is like a little bit juvenile, but I can't help it. I've been like so into pink stuff lately, apparently. Okay, let me finish up with some products that I'm not going to buy. I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of over like the metallic lip trend. I don't know if I ever officially got into it. There were a couple of metallic lip products that I liked that were okay, but to be honest with you guys, I would just reach for pretty much any other lip product in my collection over a metallic lipstick. So Too Faced is releasing these new melted metallic lipsticks. So these are like their melted matte lipsticks, but they have a metallic finish. I like their melted matte lipsticks, but they're very, very drying. And I feel like metallic lipsticks have to have like that shiny sheen. Otherwise, they look a little bit unflattering on the lips in my personal preference. So Smashbox actually makes like these metallic liquid lip glosses that are really beautiful. But as for like the actual metallic liquid lips, I don't like those as much just because I feel like they can kind of emphasize any dryness on your lips. And because these Too Faced melted lipsticks do have a tendency to already be super dry, I just don't know how flattering they're actually going to be on the lips. And they are available now online if you guys are interested in trying them out. But I will be skipping over those. I just feel like I have a few metallic products in my collection. I just don't really need to add any additional ones as far as lip products go. And the last thing that I want to mention is from LORAC. I personally don't purchase anything from LORAC because their cruelty-free status is a little bit unclear. I only purchase cruelty-free beauty products, and Logical Harmony and Cruelty-Free Kitty are the two sources that I follow most closely for that information, and they've kind of mentioned that it's a little bit unclear. So I don't purchase from the brand, but I wanted to hear your thoughts on this palette. I think it's a really beautiful palette. It actually reminds me a lot of the Tarte palette that I was just talking about, but I feel like there's not a ton of variation within this palette. The matte shadows are all so similar, and sometimes it's hard to see when you're looking online, but honestly, like, look at all of those colors next to each other. It looks so light. Like, there's not a lot going on within the palette. Like, the darker berry shades look really gorgeous, and I feel like they will be complemented by some of the lighter tones in here, but I don't know what's with palettes and not creating a ton of variation. I just reviewed the ColourPop Fame palette on my channel, and this one, again, just does not have a ton of variation within the palette. I feel like you only need so many lighter matte colors, maybe like 1, 2 at the most, but a lot of these brands are inserting like 6 light matte shades in there, and I don't really get it. Okay guys, that is the end of my video. Thank you so much for watching. There are definitely products that caught my eye recently, so I am planning on purchasing a few things over the next week or two or few weeks whenever these products are released, but I would love to hear from you. So let me know in the comments below which products you're interested in, which ones you're just totally over, because I just think it's fun to chat with you guys. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.